Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Peace Jones. Don't forget to like this video, to comment on this video, and to subscribe to this channel. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you choose to stay. My channel is focused on three things in particular. That is travel, solo travel in particular, dating, all things dating, the good, the bad, the ugly, tips, my dating life, whatever. And number three, healing from anything from childhood trauma, abusive relationships, just issues within yourself, growth, manifestation, just being the best you. Okay, so if you're interested, go ahead and subscribe and check out this video. All right. Guys, so today we are going to be talking about boundaries. Okay, so this is a video for my healing segment called Heal With Me, and let's get right into it. I have 8 different points that I'm going to be discussing today for this video, and this is just basically a video about setting boundaries, and it's like a 1-year plan. So basically the last step is to evaluate your circumstances after a year of implementing these boundaries and see if you can notice any changes, if your life has become better, less stressful, whatever, right? So let's start with me giving a little chit chat, okay? So first of all, I want to let you guys know that I talk about these topics because I haven't experienced everything that I talk about, but a lot of the things I have dealt with and healed from, or I'm still healing from. So this is just me coming to you as a non-perfect person and helping you guys with things that I have had to overcome and some of the tips and things that I have used to help me overcome them. Okay, I've broken down a lot of my issues on my own. I have broken down a lot of my traumas on my own. I have done a lot of self-work on my own, and I'm still doing it. Okay, so I'm no professional, I'm not licensed, I'm not a therapist, but I think I've done pretty good with my healing journey, and I'm still on it. So yeah, anyway, that's that. I personally have dealt with not having any boundaries at all and literally watching people treat me like crap. Yeah. So I know where my issue lies with not having boundaries. I know exactly where it comes from. Not gonna share that with you guys, but it's definitely a childhood trauma where I felt like I had to overcompensate, always be nice when maybe people or someone was not being nice to me, always make myself be available, always just show love, be there, be open. As soon as a person treats me like crap and then says sorry, forget my feelings, forget how it made me feel. I just have to be there with open arms, welcoming you back into my life. And so I saw how that ran into my friendships, it ran into my relationships, it ran into just life. I literally would let people talk to me any type of way, treat me any type of way, and I was just always there to just be a punching bag, essentially, deal with it, and then come right back and be like, okay, you just treated me like crap, but I'm still here, I still love you, I'm still gonna treat you nicely. And I almost had this thing where I wanted to prove to people that no matter how mean or horrible you could treat me, I could still be nice to you. It was almost like I was trying to prove to very damaged people that were hurting me and clearly didn't care about me that there was nothing that they could do to make me turn into them. And I almost had this idea that, like, okay, well, when everything's all said and done and this person looks back on our friendship or our relationship, all they're going to say is, dang, I really miss her because she was so nice and she did this and that. And I've had a lot of people say that, you know, a lot of friendships that have ended. I've had people come back years later, whether it be a random text message or a phone call or trying to just rekindle that friendship or relationship. And they're like, yeah, like you were just so nice, like you were so caring, you were so sweet, you were the only person that this and this and this. But as much as that was like a compliment to me, I also had to look at the damage, the severe damage that it caused me, because at the end of the day, yeah, I can walk away and say, I was never mean to you. I never, you know, called you out. I never hurt your feelings. I never did anything spiteful. But meanwhile, I'm taking in all of that evil, petty, manipulative, mean stuff that you're doing to me, and I'm internalizing it, or I'm like, you know, just bottling it all up. And when it's all said and done and these people just walk out of my life, or they blow up and they do something crazy, or they're disloyal, I'm like, damn, look at all I've done for you. Damn, look at all the times I was there for you. Damn, look at all those sacrifices. Damn, look at all the things I bought you, or all the times I showed up, or my loyalty to you, or whatever. And really, these people can walk away scot-free, because it's like, they don't care. They were never in it to win it. They never loved me like I loved them. They basically just used me. And what you'll see a lot of times when you don't set boundaries is when you do finally decide to set them, you'll lose a lot of people because they're used to you being their punching bag. They're used to you doing whatever they want, or going along with the evil, manipulative, petty things that they do to you, and you just sitting right there and soaking it all up, okay? Figure out why you don't have any boundaries, and seek the help you need, or soul search, or journal, or, you know, write down whatever you have to write down, talk to whoever you have to talk to, go to therapy, whatever, right? So like I just shared with you guys, I figured out where my no boundaries issue came from. Wasn't hard to figure out. I personally have done some soul searching and some, you know, thoughtful processes around that. I wouldn't say that I have totally healed that. Definitely need to do more work on it, but at least I'm aware of where it came from, and that will better help me to navigate through this process. So a lot of times, you guys, like, whatever the healing is that you're trying to do, or whatever issue you're trying to work on, you have to figure out where it started, right? You have to figure out how you develop these issues, and that will help you to like make peace with those things, or those people, or situations, to kind of like dismantle them in your head, to kind of overcome that trauma, and then you can work on fixing the issue. So that's why I say figure out why you don't have boundaries in the first place, and then, you know, seek the help that you need, whether it be self-help, whether it be going to therapy, whatever. That's going to be step number one, because if you don't even know where it comes from, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be hard for you to go back to that area and then work on fixing it, okay? So number 2 would be figure out who needs boundaries in your life, okay? So little story time. I personally realized that I needed boundaries in my life once I had this crazy coworker, okay? So this coworker was about 30 years older than me, maybe 25, definitely over 20 years older than me. And she had her own issues, and one of them was definitely that she was like lonely, didn't really have friends, didn't have anyone to like vent to or talk to or hang out with. And so she like gravitated towards me and my other coworker, and we were like really cool. Now, my other coworker, she never really tried her. She would always just, talk to her. It would be hee hee ha ha. It was a few times where she would like do something kind of off, and that coworker would like, kind of set her straight, but it was never nothing like off the chain, disrespectful, crazy like she would do with me. Now with me, on the other hand, it started out the same way, like, oh, hee hee ha ha, I'm just venting, I'm just talking. But then it very quickly became this like super weird dynamic where it was like she thought I was her kid. She was like bossing me around, yelling at me. I remember at one point we had this incident at work where like something went wrong, but it had nothing to do with her. And like the top boss was like helping me figure it out. She wasn't upset at all. She was just kind of, figuring it out with me. Mistakes happen. She comes out of nowhere. She's like yelling at me, fussing at me, telling me that I'm so dumb and so wrong for doing this and that. And the top boss had to like kind of get into it because she's like, who are you talking to? Why are you talking to her like this? This isn't okay, especially if you all, I thought, were like friends. Where is this coming from, right? So other people started to notice it as well. My other coworker started to notice it as well. And she was like, girl, she does not treat me like that. I don't know why she does that to you. Then it was like other occurrences where she would just keep on like down talking me or like blowing up my phone at night and then get mad if I didn't answer it, or like forcing me to do certain things. And if I didn't want to, she would be pissed off. So it became this really toxic, like, I own you, you're my servant, do what I say, you're so stupid and horrible and dumb if you don't. And that was when I realized I needed boundaries, because this lady had literally taken the idea of me like being her coworker that allowed her to vent, that was like somewhat cool with her, and just manipulated it and twisted it in her mind that I was like some piece of her, part of her that she had so much control over and so much authority over. And it just was really weird. So I was like, oh no, girl, you need to start setting some boundaries. You need to really figure out like how much of you can give to her, and just leave it at that, because she really wants to like, she wants to control like your life and what she wants you to do and the time that she wants you to give her and whatever else, right? So that is when I decided, okay, I gotta start setting boundaries. Then I started looking at other aspects of my life, and I was like, yeah, there's certain things and situations and people that I have to set boundaries with in order to protect my peace, because I've always been the type of person that's just like so loving and so giving. Like I spoke about in my last video talking about reevaluating my friendships. Literally, whenever my friends like hit me up and they're like, hey, we're doing this, or hey, you're invited to this, or hey, we should do this, I'm like, boom, goes to my calendar, like clears it off, like figures out how I can squeeze this in if I already have something going on. If I can't make it, how I can make it up to them. Like I'm always just like this when it comes to people, especially my friends. I'm always so happy for them. I'm always like just there and available. And I had to realize like, okay, I got to set boundaries with some of these people too, because I'm so willing to give, I'm so willing to jump, I'm so willing to participate, but these people are not always like that when it comes to me. So I had to really draw back and be like, okay, girl, like you have to figure out boundaries in your friendships, in your life, and even in your relationships. Like when you're dating, how much of yourself can you give? How much of yourself should you give before it's like a really intimate connection or something serious, right? So figured all of that out, right? Number 3, figure out what those boundaries will be, okay? So there's no use in saying like, oh, I'm gonna have boundaries with this friend and this family member and this person at church, but then you don't know what the boundaries are gonna be, right? So like I said, for that crazy coworker, I ended up literally saying like, look, I can't answer any more phone calls. I'm not about to be texting you all day. My boundaries with her were like keeping it at work and literally keeping it at high and by, because I started to realize that anything past that was going to be her getting mad at me, her trying to twist my words, her trying to like dig deeper and deeper into my life and figure out more about me, then get mad if I didn't tell her. So I was like, yeah, the boundaries with her is just like, we're only strictly talking about work, and I'm going to be cordial and say hi and bye, right? Now, let's say you have like a toxic aunt, right? And your aunt is always at the house. She's clearly your mother's sister. You can't really do much about it. But you're like, hey, you can be at my house all you want, but my boundaries with you are don't come into my personal space, don't come into my room. And maybe we used to hang out together and have girls' days with the grandma, mom, and aunt every weekend. Now I don't really have interest in doing that. I'm going to protect my peace and no longer participate in girls' days, right? Maybe you want to set boundaries with some long-term relationship, on and off type of situationship, right? And you're like, hey, this has been on and off forever. It's kind of draining. My boundary that I'm going to set is, yeah, maybe we can keep on doing this, but we're no longer going to be intimate and you're no longer coming to my house. So whatever we do has to be out. We have to actually go to an establishment and we're no longer going to be intimate. Okay. So those are just some examples. All right. Number 4, know and understand why you deserve these boundaries. Okay. That kind of ties into number 1. Figuring out why you actually have these issues, where it comes from, and why you have no boundaries and you're just open to letting people do whatever. But you also have to figure out and know and understand that you deserve boundaries in your life, that you deserve to protect your peace, your heart, and your energy, and understand why you're doing it, right? Because that's another thing. Like, if you aren't used to having boundaries and you're just used to letting people do whatever, sometimes you can kind of feel guilty, especially if it's like deep childhood trauma where you were kind of like made to feel guilty if you didn't allow people to walk all over top of you. So you have to know and understand that this is normal, this is healthy, this is probably something that's long overdue that you should have been doing years ago, and understand that this is good for you. Okay, you deserve this. All right. Number 5, stick to them even if it's hard. All right. I know, like I said, sometimes in relationships or like with family members, especially if they're close knit or they're always around, and even with some friendships, like, believe it or not, a lot of friendships are very like codependent, very toxic, even if they don't feel like it, right? So it might be really hard to keep these boundaries up with people that you really care about or you're used to seeing or talking to all the time. But you have to know that in order to keep a healthy relationship, sometimes those boundaries are necessary. So just stick to them, even if it becomes difficult. All right. Number 6, protect your peace and energy. Okay. That's what setting boundaries is all about. I have a friend named Bob, and I talk to him all the time because literally he is Mr. Protect your peace. Like, he never gets upset. I've known him since 2011. I don't think I've ever seen him mad, like, ever. Never seen him yell. And most of the times, no matter what happens to him, he's like, it is what it is. Protect your peace. I'm cutting off whoever, like, doesn't help and assist me with bringing peace to my life. And so I think about him when I say, like, protect your peace, because honestly, setting boundaries really does help you protect your peace and your energy. Because if you just letting people do whatever, run all over top of you, run in and out of your life, treat you like crap, you are going to be the one that suffers at the end of the day. Trust me, I know, okay? I've dealt with plenty of men, been in plenty situationships and relationships where I wish I would have had boundaries, because when he decides to do whatever he does and we're now on bad terms, it's like, well, damn. Look at all that I've given. Look at all that I've lost, as opposed to what he's given and what he's going to lose out on, if he even cares, right? Same with same with friendships, okay? I might do a segment on friendship PTSD, where I had one friend in particular where I felt like I gave her the world. I gave her all of my love, support, and energy. And over time, she clearly showed that, she either didn't care, or because of her own internal battle, she didn't show that she cared, and kind of was like, F you. And I was like, well, damn, I wouldn't have invested all of that in you if I knew that this was going to be the outcome. Okay. So protect your peace and your energy. All right. Number 7, if you lose people, that's okay. What did I tell you guys earlier on in this video? A lot of times when you decide to set boundaries and put your foot down and make some changes in your relationships, whether it be platonic or romantic, you're going to lose some people. Okay, if you're dating and you do it, some of those guys or some of those girls may fall off. If you are in these friendships and you do it, you may lose some friends. If you do it with family members, they may stop coming around, because the thing is, people love it when you allow them to treat you any type of way. But when you put down rules and you put in place, your standard for how you deserve to be treated and how you want to be treated, oh, you become the bad guy. You become the worst person ever. You're all of a sudden selfish and you're changing and you think you're better and da 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 da. No. It's called a boundary. You've never respected it. And now that it's in place, you feel some type of way because you can't do whatever you want to do to me. It's sick. They need help. All right. Number 8. If they try to invade those barriers, be stern in telling them that you will not allow your boundaries to be crossed, okay? So that's another thing. I feel like I went through this with that coworker where it was like, she would see that I had pulled back. She would see that I wasn't, any longer available for certain things. Like I said, those late night phone calls or texting me all day or coming down to my desk to gossip. And it was like, she wanted to know why, but I felt like she would never really sit out and ask me, because she knew what she was doing wrong, right? So I feel like a lot of times you will experience that, right? A lot of times you'll have people who, notice the change and they kind of get on your back for doing so, or they ask you, or they try and probe at you, or even sick people might try and somehow, bribe you to start doing the things that you used to do, or allowing them to do whatever they used to get away with you. But you have to be stern. Let them know, no amount of money, no amount of loving, no amount of sorry, no amount of whatever it is you want to offer me at this stage is going to work. I have set this boundary. This is what I want. This is what I'm doing moving forward. You've had your time to shine. You've had more than enough time at my expense. And now this is what I require. So that's that. We're not talking about it. We're not discussing it. It's not up for debate. These are the boundaries. And if you don't like it, what was number 7? You can walk out of my life. You may lose people, okay? Now, last but not least is number 9. And like I said, starting this video, this is a year plan for putting in your boundaries, right? Putting your boundaries in place. So evaluate your life after a year of doing this, right? I'm going to do this as well, because I have just recently really started to work on this journey of setting my boundaries. And like I said, it started with one of my coworkers about a year ago. And then I reevaluated a lot of things, looked at my life, analyzed a lot of things. And I'm on this journey of setting boundaries in my life, okay? So I'm actually going to try this where I evaluate these situations after a year and really determine, did I do a good job? Did I stick to it? Was I able to, allow certain people that weren't treating me right to realize it? And did they step up and change? Did they apologize? Did they fall off? Do I feel better? Do I feel more at peace? Do I feel happier? Am I struggling mentally, going back and forth, feeling bad and feeling guilty because I've done this? Just an evaluation, okay? So that is the end of this video, you guys. I hope that it really helped you guys. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but these are just some tactics and tips that I've used and that I am using. And just remember that you deserve happiness and peace from people that respect you, that treat you properly, that love you, and that do not have to manipulate you and do like mean, petty, spiteful, controlling things to you just to show that they're in your life, or just to, hold a bond together. Like, that's not normal and that's not healthy. Okay, you guys? So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.